Are we there yet? Evaluating nonprofit management as a profession for program accreditation. Currently, educators in the field of nonprofit management are debating the value of academic program accreditation. Some argue that programs should have their own accreditation, and others maintain it's not needed since nonprofit management borrows from established disciplines, thus making it a subset of other fields. To objectively evaluate the argument, one must ask, is nonprofit management a unique profession? If it is, then it could be deserving of accreditation just as other professions. Researchers Crystal Evans and M.D. Kinoti, both from Regis University, sought to evaluate this very question and determine if nonprofit management is different from business management and public administration. First, they looked at business. By its very definition, nonprofit and businesses are different owing to ownership and the purpose of profit. However, when they evaluated the difference between public administration and nonprofit management, the line was a bit more blurry. Both seek to improve society and work towards the common good. Both operate without profit as a primary motive. Therefore, researchers asked, are public administration and nonprofit management separate disciplines? Darrell Pugh contended that public administration was a profession by evaluating it through the 6 characteristics that connote a profession. Evans and Kinoti tested nonprofit management against these same 6 characteristics. The first trait that denotes a profession is case of mind. This is a particular self-conscious mindset among academics and practitioners, demonstrating that those in the field recognize it as unique. From a legal position, in the United States, the nonprofit sector is distinguished by law and practice. Therefore, the first measure, having a case of mind, is met. The second requirement for a profession is a corpus of theory and knowledge. Darrell Pugh argued that this requirement had been met for public administration when in 1926 Leonardo White was able to create the first public administration textbook. If this did in fact fulfill the requirement, then one must logically conclude that a field with multiple textbooks and dedicated journals also meets this requirement. Therefore, nonprofit management does have a theory of corpus and knowledge. Social identity is the third criteria. It is the development of a social ideal to unify those within the occupation. To better understand the social idea of nonprofit practitioners, one must simply look at the vast body of research regarding motivational theory and nonprofit employees. The intrinsic motivation is distinct from government employees and for-profit employees. Apart from the employees who earn their living from formal employment within the sector, the role of unpaid employee within the workforce is also significant. Additionally, this unpaid nonprofit workforce is also motivated by the same intrinsic desire. It seems a prevailing unity in the nonprofit workforce is a willingness to work for and take pleasure in an organization's mission, even if it means sacrificing wages. After establishing that the first 3 criteria for profession have been met, the fourth criteria, an ethical standard, must be evaluated. Although there is no one specific code of ethics for the nonprofit professional, the field has binding ethical standards throughout. Notably, many membership organizations within the nonprofit sector have codes of ethics for their members. Additionally, specific disciplines, such as certified fundraising executives, grant writers, and certified animal welfare administrators, also have a code of ethics. Therefore, the code of ethics is present at many levels within the field. The fifth criteria is a formal organization to promote its interests. The field of nonprofit management benefits not just from one but from many. For the nonprofit researcher, the Association of Research on Nonprofit Organizations and Voluntary Action, ARNOVA, fills this requirement. Additionally, nonprofit scholars with an international interest can benefit from the International Society for Third Sector Research. Another key organization that actively promotes academic development and research for this sector is the Nonprofit Academic Council Centers, NAC. Apart from sponsoring a journal, they also help develop curricular guidelines for nonprofit programs, and it also hosts an honor society dedicated to promoting the profession. Nonprofit practitioners are not without their own membership organizations. Many of these organizations are regional in nature and provide a place for practitioners to network, improve their skills, and advance their profession. Clearly, the fifth criteria for the profession, having a formal organization, is filled. Lastly, the sixth requirement, having a Hall of Fame, must be considered. To be considered a founder in the field, one must see a weakness and establish a new way of thinking or doing. Consider then perhaps that the father or mother of the nonprofit sector was not an individual but an organization. the Young Men's Christian Association, the YMCA. The YMCA was established in the United Kingdom in 1844. By the 1980s, it had chapters in all major U.S. cities. The YMCA gained support from key financial backers, and this allowed the organization to operate at a scale never seen before in the nonprofit sector. However, this very large scale also magnified the managerial needs for the sector. Consequently, individuals from within the YMCA created the School for Christian Workers in 1885, and among the curriculum was training on how to run a successful nonprofit, or YMCA. More formal education for nonprofit leaders evolved from the Chicago YMCA when, in 1911, it started offering an accredited bachelor's in association science. Although the YMCA continued to work in the field and promote the first nonprofit textbook in 1935. It is clear that those within the YMCA saw weakness in the profession of nonprofit administration. YMCA leaders took action and developed and educated association leaders by establishing a school and curriculum designed for their special needs. By this standard, the YMCA could be considered the founding father or mother of nonprofit management. The goal of this essay was to evaluate nonprofit management through the 6 characteristics that connote a profession. A case of mine was clearly illustrated by demonstrating that practitioners and scholars within the field identify themselves as being a unique profession. Multiple textbooks and peer-reviewed journals were cited as examples of having met the criteria for a corpus of theory and knowledge. The intrinsic motivation of nonprofit employees was provided as a case for a social idea. Ethical standards were evaluated and found to be sufficient. The 5th criteria is a formal organization to promote its interest. Examples of nonprofit scholarship organization as well as practitioner-based organizations were provided to show that the 5th criteria has been met. Lastly, the 6th criteria, a Hall of Fame, was evaluated. It is acknowledged that the nonprofit management field does not have a recognized founding father or mother as with other fields. However, a case for recognizing the YMCA was made. Accepting that the YMCA meets the standard for a Hall of Fame, then all 6 characteristics that connote a profession are met within the nonprofit management field. Perhaps one key component missing from formal nonprofit education is an accrediting body to distinguish among education programs. If certification were to become an accepted reality, both the performance and the statute of the career of managers would be enhanced. For more information, see Are We There Yet? Evaluating Nonprofit Management as a Profession for Program Accreditation in the Journal of Nonprofit Education and Leadership. Authors Crystal A. Evans and M.D. Kinoti.